August 2nd, 2017 will now come to order. Please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Chairman Williams.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shavir.
Here.
Secretary Chambers.
Here.
Dr. Faison.
Here.
Member Baker. Member Ritchie. School Board Member Hare.
Here.
And we have quorum. Next is approval of minutes for July 19th, 2017.
I make a motion that we approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All persons who anticipate speaking on any public hearing item must first fill out the oath card contained thereon on the agenda item and sign the oath card contained thereon. These cards are located on the table near the entrance to the council chambers and may be obtained from the recording secretary. This meeting will be conducted in accordance to procedures adopted in Resolution 24-1997. Those speaking in favor of a request will be heard first, those opposed will be heard second, and those who wish to make a public comment on an item will speak third. The applicant may make a brief rebuttal if necessary. A representative from either side, for or against, may cross-examine a witness. Anyone who speaks is considered a witness. If you have photographs, sketches, or documents you desire the Commission to consider, they must be submitted into evidence and will be retained by the Secretary, by the City. Please submit such exhibits to the Recording Secretary. Staff, has all items been properly advertised?
Yes, they have.
And has anybody on the Commission had the opportunity to speak to anybody in the public or visit the sites coming before us? No? And with that, we can start with the first item, please.
Okay, so item 9A starts on page 8 of 46 in your packet. This is small-scale amendment number 1-2017. The applicant is requesting a small-scale amendment and rezoning in order to construct single-family homes. Based on the survey submitted with the application, the total property area is approximately 1.69 acres, including the land between River Edge Drive and the Indian River Lagoon. The requested small-scale amendment proposes to replace the existing commercial high-intensity and conservation land use designations with medium-density residential future land use and replace the existing community commercial and open space and recreation zoning with the single-family medium-density zoning designation. So based on this, the staff did an analysis. A couple of things that I wanted to highlight were is on page 11 of 46 in your packet or on 2 of 5 in the staff report. Under the staff analysis, so as I said before, the property is approximately 1.69 acres. Approximately 1.4 acres is between US 1 and River Edge Drive, and the remainder, approximately 0.3 acres, is located between River Edge Drive and the Indian River Lagoon. The proposed medium-density residential land use allows a maximum of 10 dwelling units per acre, and the single-family medium-density zoning allows for a maximum of 5.8 units per acre, with a maximum building height of 35 feet. So let's see. Based on some discussions with the applicant, some single-family lots are proposed, some of which will front on US 1 but may not be accessed via US 1. The majority of River Edge Drive is subject to the River Edge Drive Small Area Plan adopted by the City Council on November 23rd, 2004. And I referenced in there that a copy was included, but I'm not sure that it was actually placed in the agenda. The plan specifies different regulations for two portions of River Edge Drive, the north area and the south area. Generally, the north area is recommended for medium-density residential future land use designations, and the south area is recommended for low-density residential future land use designations. The subject property is not within the plan boundaries. However, it is adjacent to the northern border of the plan area. Staff considers the requested medium-density residential land use as an appropriate designation as it is consistent with the medium-density residential designation recommended by the River Edge Drive Small Area Plan on the properties just to the south. The property subject to the request is surrounded by a mix of commercial and industrial uses along US Highway 1 and multifamily and some single-family uses along River Edge Drive. The requested medium-density residential land use is similar to other land use designations in the general vicinity, but the requested R1B zoning designation is much lower in allowable density than the maximum allowed by the future land use, and could be considered not the most appropriate use of the property. Based on discussion with the applicant, the purpose of the request is to create single-family lots that will be accessed via US 1 or River Edge Drive. Let's see. And so the reason that I read that is to go down to the staff recommendation or the conclusion recommendation. So based on the application that staff received, we feel that a better option may be available. It's not necessarily that residential is not appropriate in this area. It's just that staff feels that single-family residential may be not quite high enough of an intensity to be compatible with the neighboring uses. And so that's why we recommended that other options be considered, potentially multifamily or a mix of commercial and residential on the property. So with that, I'll be glad to try to answer any questions. The applicant is here as well if you have any questions for them.
Okay. So if we could go back to the original format that we had where we first opened it up, and then if we have questions of staff. And if you would mind, if you'd buzz in when you guys have questions. So we'll open it up to the public. Do you have cards on this item?
Yes, 2 cards. Rodney Honeycutt.
Okay, Mr. Honeycutt.
Good afternoon, good evening maybe. Rodney Honeycutt, 3700 South Washington Avenue in Titusville. And so the request for this rezoning is single-family medium residential density. Staff had some comments that were maybe not negative, but would like us to look at it differently. And so we've met with staff since we submitted this a week or so ago, and we've decided to change the request a little bit. And so if you look at your map, and I'm going to just show you the map I'm looking at and tell you where I'm drawing a boundary.
The map is on page 15 of your packet.
No, we have that in here.
And so the reason we feel that single-family residential is better is there's not any multifamily on that side of the road. We feel like the neighborhood would rather have it single-family and not multifamily. And then by removing the part, and there's about a half an acre that fronts on US 1 that we would remove by drawing that line that I just showed you. By leaving that commercial, we could have the option to come back later and ask for it to be rezoned to multifamily also if we think there's a market to do that. Really, I think someone would probably want to buy more property. You need a larger property probably to have multifamily. But by leaving that commercial, that strip center to the south is abandoned now or vacant. And so they could join those properties together, someone could. So we feel that's a better way to do it. So the house to the south of us, it's in the county. It is zoned commercial, but it is a single family, which is allowable in the county to have a commercial zone. And then, as you know, south of that is the new subdivision that has, I think, 23 single-family lots in it. And so by doing this, it would be allowed to have 2 single-family units there, and they could possibly have a dock or something on the other side of the river. They wouldn't be able to develop anything over there. We'd be zoning that OR. Okay. So do you have any questions?
Does anybody have questions for Rodney? Not at this time, but
okay,
I'm
I'll
sure
be here
that
if you
we'll
need me. Thanks.
Probably have more after we discuss it more. Staff, I had a quick question, though, on the change. So with the change of subdividing that and changing the request to leave that commercial, is that still acceptable for the notices, and does that still meet the intent?
As long as it's a lesser portion of the property, not the entire parcel, then the advertisement covers it.
Okay. All right, so if we can go to the next card, please.
Rose Easley.
Oh, thank you.
Rose Easley, River Edge Drive, Titusville. I'm all for this. Houses are what we always wanted on this road. What I'm showing you is the problem that is the road. Yeah.
Okay.
The drainage, which
okay.
I'm sure they'll resolve, but it's about 8 inches drop off there, and I just wanted you all to be aware of it. It needs to be developed so that we can stop this running off straight into the river. It comes from New US 1 straight on down, and just when we have torrential rains, it's just washing out the road there. So anyway, I'm all for it.
All right. Any questions for Rose?
Pardon me?
I was asking if they had any questions for you. So, and I see none, so thank you. And all right, so next card, please.
Henry Moss.
Mr. Moss?
Good evening. Henry Moss, Riverview Townhomes. I, too, am in favor with the proposed, I guess it's R1B density designation for this. The thing that we see as homeowners in this area has been ramping up consistently over the last year now is the traffic, and so that's one of our major concerns is, obviously the more family units there, the more traffic there's going to be, and also the access to River Edge Drive and whether any of this new development can have access from US 1, which would offload some of the traffic from River Edge. I guess the third item I'd just like to mention is we have kind of a beautiful area right in front of the river there, and designated right now, I guess, as conservation. I would like to see that maintained as nice as it could be. Limited amount of tree cutting down, in other words. And other than that, I think we're in favor of what's proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Moss? Okay. Next card, please.
Laura Ward.
So what I did not understand what the zoning would be on River Edge portion for the single family.
Who's looking at subdividing, leaving the front commercial on US 1?
Yeah, I know, but what about the residential?
Residential 1B.
R1B?
R1B.
How big a lot is that?
1.3 something acres.
It's
Frontage.
the
Less
minimum
than
lot
that.
size is 7,500 square feet with 75 feet of frontage.
75. Well, that would be very consistent with the subdivision, which is just one lot south, because I believe they ended up with 75-foot lots on the road that have river access across the street, and then the homes behind it, there's 22, I think, altogether, maybe 23. But they've already got one of those homes almost, up and built. If what they tell me is correct, they have contract on that one and one more already that aren't even built. They don't even have a sales office. So it seems that the homes are selling very well. And if what they tell me is true about the prices, they're also selling for high prices. So people on the road can have a dock across the road on the river, and that would be the same for this property, if I understand it correctly. When I first saw this, I thought, my goodness, that's terrific. Somebody wants to do something that we could, be in favor of, having single-family homes on the west side of the road, which is what they all are on the west side. So, I think you ought to let them do what they want to do. Certainly, in regard to the single-family homes, the parcel, like Rodney said, is too small for somebody to really get involved with multifamily on it. It's just too small. You can't make it, especially now when the market doesn't want multifamily. So this would be an opportunity for some development to actually happen if you would allow that. So, good. Thank you.
Any questions, Laura? Okay, thank you. Any other cards?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll close this to the public. So I just wanted to say real quick, my first instinct was because of staff's concerns, I thought about subdividing, because we've had the issue of access to US 1, not being able to not be able to access US 1, and that's been an issue. I like the fact that they come in now and are going to subdivide this. And I mean, I think it's appropriate. I mean, I was really surprised that we did this back, the River Edge Agreement back in 2004. It doesn't seem like it's that long ago. It really doesn't. So I was kind of surprised. And I expected Laura to be here. And I'm very pleased that the neighborhood is happy and it's consistent with the plan. So, are there any questions of staff? Oh, I'm sorry. So if you turn on your mic, we'll be ready to go.
Well, I had plugged in.
You did, and that's
Okay.
why I said I'm sorry.
Okay, we're halfway. Ms. Ward. I just want to say that I'm pleased to see this kind of support. I've not seen this before. Have we called for the others yet?
Excuse me?
Have we called for the others yet? I'm about to say that.
That was
Seems as if
everybody.
everyone here is in agreement with what has been presented by the requesters, and this is unusual.
Well, it's what we've always asked for. So finally, the market is giving us what we asked for.
Okay, I just needed to make that comment.
Okay. Any other questions? Rodney, did you want to come up and say anything? No. Just want to give you that opportunity. All right, so is there a motion on this item?
So moved. Approval of the request as submitted.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Can we have roll call on this?
Vice Chairman Shavir,
Yes.
Secretary Chambers,
Yes.
Dr. Faison,
Yes.
Chairman Williams.
Yes. Okay. I thought this would be a quick meeting. So, all right. we'll go to
Okay,
the
so
next item.
Yes, the next item, let me get there. The next item, item 9B, starts on page 30 of 46 in your packet. The applicant, on behalf of the owner, is requesting to rezone an approximately 0.23 acre property located at 1116 South Street. The request is to rezone the property from the light industrial services and warehousing M1 zoning district to the neighborhood commercial zoning designation within the comprehensive plan future land use designation of downtown mixed use. The purpose of the rezoning is to allow a professional office on the property subject of the request. And so you can see on the map on page 36 of your packet, this is right just to the west of the Titusville Housing Authority office and right at the corner of Robbins Avenue and South Street. And so, like I said, the request is to go from M1 to neighborhood commercial. In reviewing other zoning districts in the area, there's other neighborhood commercial, community commercial. There's very similar zoning districts in this area, and so staff is recommending approval of this item. And with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
All right, so we'll open this to the public. Are there cards on this item?
No, sir.
Did you guys want to speak on this item? Were you here to speak on this item? No? Okay. All right, so we'll close this to the public, bring it back before the board. Are there questions of staff? My only thing was, I mean, I read through it and it seems consistent. I saw that, I think you said multifamily in the backside. Sometimes when I see stuff like that, I see like neighborhood commercial as a transition with multifamily. At the same time, you're looking at South Street. So even if you put, I mean, it is going down. in my opinion, anything on South Street, you can pretty much put just about community commercial. There's a multitude of things you can put on there. And so from a zoning issue, I don't see any issues that could come up with this. So I'll ask again, just in case, are there any other comments or questions before we make a motion on this item? Okay, do we have a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the item, zone number 2, 2017.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, is there further, before I saw that you chimed in real quick, did you have any? Okay. All right, so then if we will take a vote on this.
Dr. Faison?
Yes.
Secretary Chambers?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Shavir?
Yes.
Chairman Williams?
Yes, and motion passes. So, next is, I used to get done this quick. Next is reports.
I don't have anything other than, I believe in the packet that was mailed out to you, you had one summary of action from the July 11th meeting from City Council, and I think, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, she passed out the one from this previous council meeting. So we are going to continue to try to give these, hand these out to you. I know that you all like seeing them, so we intend to do that. And the only other item is we were trying to figure out the next couple of dates, since there will be council budget workshops upcoming. It interferes with some of the Wednesdays that the P&Z typically meets. So Lori has a couple dates that she wanted to poll everyone on and see what worked best.
Actually, I heard from everybody but Dr. Faison
Okay.
and Secretary Chambers. So I wasn't sure if Tuesday the 15th or Thursday the 17th would be better for you guys on that week.
Of this month.
That's our next meeting would be the 16th, but council's having their workshop. So it has to be either the Tuesday or the Thursday of that week.
Our social secretary was on vacation. But I don't have a problem.
Either?
I don't either.
Today and I do.
Okay, then we'll have quorum on either date that
Okay, great.
is chosen for that. And then the next meeting would have been on September 6th, so we're requesting it to be moved to September 7th. And I already have 3 confirmed for that date, so I need one more. Probably
Right now,
September 7th.
I'll be out of state, so.
Okay. So that'll work, September 7th?
September 7th.
It's a Thursday. Okay, good, great.
Thank you all. That's
So
all I
we'll-
had. Unless you have any questions for me.
Nope.
Thank you.
Questions of staff? Anything about projects? Anything about projects or?
Yeah, I can wait until the next meeting because it's been so short.
Nope.
When I'm talking about. I can wait until the next meeting since this one's been so short. But what I promised you last time when we were talking about the renovations and that of the schools like Pinewood and Oak Park and those schools, that I reported on last, but I had this in my hand, and Mr. Lindman wrote this. It has been approved by the school board, and it's got 8 different sections. So if you would wish, I can hold it until the next meeting. Yeah.
It would please me. I have house guests, and I
Okay.
would like to get back with them.
Okay,
Okay.
next meeting.
That decides it then. So next time I'll go over the 8 different sections of this and very briefly and pass it around so that you can look at the charts. It's the accommodation plan for students with enrollment and capacity. Very interesting, but a lot of it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chairman, you had something you wanted to
I have a
bring?
question for staff. There are 2 projects within the city. One is Imperial Towers. Has anything happened to that in terms of that building?
In Bay Towers?
Bay Towers, I'm sorry, Bay Towers.
Bay Towers on South Washington is under renovation, and the owner of the property is working towards rehabilitating the south tower so that it can become occupied again.
Is that still a condo?
My understanding is that the condominium association has terminated and transferred it into apartments. They're working on finalizing that transfer.
You just brought that up. How does that work? The people that paid and have a condo purchase the condominiums. How does that?
There's Florida law that allows condominium associations to buy out the other units, and I believe that's what happened here.
Okay. And my other question was, do we have any more word on Royal Oak? Any update on the golf course?
My understanding is that they're still in the process of the foreclosure, and that there's been no update to that status.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we go to reports from city attorney. Do you have anything you'd like to report?
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, so we'll go down we already heard from school board member Hare. Dr. Faison, anything from you? Vice Chairman Shavir?
No report.
Secretary Chambers?
Nothing.
And I have nothing, so we're adjourned. Thank you.
Well, yeah.